What's up, Stick Nation?
Buckle up, because this October, we're going on an adventure.
My heart breaks for this broken vase.
If you're all about the When You Were Young festival, your time is now.
From Southern California's largest paint and sip studio, Spotlight with Purple Easel.
Welcome to another episode of Spotlight, where we put the spotlight on artists and creatives. My name's Latoya.
And I'm Megan.
And we're both art instructors here at Purple Easel, the world's largest paint and sip studio. And we have a very mystery episode, because I don't know what we're going to be talking
I'm so
about.
excited. Really excited about this episode. So, in fact, I have this here little slip of paper and a Sharpie for you.
Oh, yay.
So I'm not going to tell you who our artist is.
Okay.
But when you think you figured it out, you're going to be like, ooh, write it down. And then just put it aside. And then we'll see if you were right.
Okay. It's like a little quiz.
It kind of. I mean, you're going to know this artist. I'm just curious as to how long it's going to take you.
Oh, okay.
But before we get into that, we got to go through some news.
Yes, we got some news, and also, you're blonde.
I am blonde. It's stage like 6 towards something else. This is not the finished thing. Yeah, but like I said last time, I've been working towards my midlife crisis. Let's just put it at that. My hairs are going white.
Oh.
When you're a redhead, apparently you don't go gray.
Go brown.
You just fade or go to white.
Oh, okay.
And so my hair's gotten duller over the years, but I was getting little bits at my temples, and my kid's like, Mom.
Oh, snap.
She does not like thinking of me being old. Right. Like, she's going to call me out. I'm like, I guess I got to do something about it. But I'm like, let's just have some fun then.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go back to like strawberry blonde afterwards. But in the meantime.
All right.
Oh, speaking of disasters, I was not very good at dyeing my hair, by the way. This is not a talent that I have.
Looks fine.
Apparently neither is mat cutting.
Okay.
So I got this cool little contraption, and I was all excited because, as you know, last week I was working on a project, and then I realized that I messed up.
Okay.
I knew it was not well planned from the beginning, but I didn't realize the extent of how well not planned it was. I normally measure out the size of my workspace to correspond with standard sizes of frames and matting. Yeah. Either I'm going to have a 1/2-inch border all the way around, or I'm going to have it go right off the edge. Like, whatever it is, I plan. This time I didn't. I just, an arbitrary spot. I was like, I'll just end it here. And then I realized it was too small. And I'm like, okay, do I try to add in like that much extra and make it flow with my colored pencils? And I was like, no, you know what? I'll just do a custom mat. Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to level up as an artist and cut my own mats.
Okay.
So I ordered this little thingy-mabob. I got a packet of plain mat boards. Toya, it was a disaster.
Was it?
I shredded those things. I have a nice T-square. I had it all lined up. You take the thing and you pull it towards you. But my T-square would start to move. So it would end up... And I never got it. I ended up shredding up one whole mat because I kept practicing and I'm like trying to get my corners to line up, and it was just a mess. So here's what I have. And I have to know, is it just me that is bothered by this?
By the way, it's absolutely stunning and beautiful.
Jeez. Thank you. I'm glad with how it turned out. I was really nervous about the background because I wanted it to be dark, but I didn't want it to just be plain.
Okay, yeah.
So I did this gradient, but I was like, I don't want to go too dark too fast because then my gradient's going to look choppy instead of smooth. And it got to the point where the paper cannot take any more color. Yeah. It's it's done. But I've got these weird little side bits that are undone.
It doesn't bother me. I did question there must have been, just because I'm an artist, I was like, there has to be some specific reason why this happened. But Like to the eye, no, it doesn't bother.
Okay, so it's just a me thing. That's good to know. I always wonder, like, is this just some weird hill that like nobody else is even aware of that I'm like dying on right now? Or, you know, is it one of those situations where you and Ian comment on the unfinished base of the sculpture? You know, like you just should have done it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
so
it's still like it's so pretty. No, again, as an artist, I was like, oh, there's got to be some specific reason why this is that and that at the top or what have you. But it doesn't take away at all.
okay, so I thought about lowering it because there is room on the back.
Okay.
And then it would be this way. But then I kind of lose some of the magic that's happening down here. And I think that's more interesting than that.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever, we'll just cut that off or I'll keep practicing and do a custom.
I keep it the way it is.
Okay, so it is just me. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
This is the best part about knowing other artists is just these random weird things. Like nobody
You're
talks
like, is this
about
good?
it.
Does this look good?
If you don't have somebody to talk about it with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So mat cutting, not a skill that I have. You have to work on that.
Yes.
In high school, we had this huge contraption and it was great because it kept everything really stable and like you would just mark and then adjust the levers and then it was easy. This thing, not so much.
You can't use an X-Acto knife?
Well, the thing is it cuts at an angle so that the matting is beveled on the inside. So like this is cut at a 45-degree angle. So it
Gotcha.
And in my mat boards are a little bit thicker than this. This is one that just came with the frame.
Okay.
So it's a little more obvious. But yeah, it's just a whole, it's
a whole
very
thing.
difficult. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Lord have mercy.
Speaking of whole things, what you got?
So here at Purple Easel, we're painting, we're doing a little class or whatever, and you were teaching actually, and there was a customer here who was mad that they never got to listen to Rihanna. Rihanna never showed up on the playlist, and so I actually asked Tiffany the next day because I was teaching, and I was like, hey, did Rihanna, because Rihanna was playing my day.
Yeah.
And yeah, apparently Rihanna never played.
Okay, so here's the situation. I asked, we had some random playlists going on, and I asked at the beginning, I'm like, are we cool with this playlist? Because it was like 2000s hits and stuff. I'm like, do we want 90s? Do we want oldies? Do we want hip hop? Like, and I asked this frequently. And oldies was the loudest response I got. I was like, okay. So I go to pull it up. And for the first time, and I've used the same 2 oldies mixes on Spotify. For whatever reason, this time it didn't pop up. It popped up with a bunch of 90s songs. And I was like, this is not oldies. This is not oldies.
Not yet.
I had like a moment of crisis. Like, oh, am I that old now? So we get going on that. I've got a group on the far end. They're jamming. It was like a large-ish group. And they were loving the oldies, singing along. And then I have somebody like raise their hand.
Like right next to them, yeah.
Right in front of me, yeah. And they were like, hey, I think we went back a little too far. Can we get some like 90s or something? I was like, okay. But I was in the middle of a step.
Okay,
so I was like, okay, let me get to a stopping point. We'll change up the music. No big deal. In the meantime, somebody else, I did not realize this. I thought it was the same person. So a third person asked to change it to Rihanna. Okay. And then so like you go and you start messing with the playlist and all this stuff, which is fine. Yeah. It's fine. But like, I felt so awkward because the one group was like singing along to the song right before. And then we're just like, switching gears.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it was a Rihanna friendly playlist, but didn't actually play any Rihanna. So then we had like 3 disappointed customers.
And I guess Tiffany had asked like, oh, is this better? And I guess the customer was like, it is a little, but like she wasn't so quite
but I'm like, we can't just put on Rihanna.
Yeah.
There's a room full of people, all different ages. Yeah. Like that's too specific.
Yeah. So that happened. I just wanted to share that. And so Eden was teaching in the other room, and I go up to Eden and I'm like, hey, there's a customer, and I told the whole Rihanna thing, right? And then Eden starts talking to their class about how one of the fun perks of working here is like eavesdropping on like the drama of what customers talk about. And so they're saying this to the class, and the class is like, hey, do you guys have any interesting stories? We're like, well. So then we started just dropping all this random drama to the class, and they're like super eating it up.
Purple
Anyways,
Easel
yeah.
tea.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
Oh,
from my
that's
little
so funny. We had a lady who had somebody here for a class but didn't want to participate. She was reading a book up at the front, comfy chairs. And like the whole time Lily's talking about this date she went on, and I'm just thinking like, what is this lady thinking about us?
Yeah,
right
she's
now?
smiling.
Right? She's like, forget the book.
Yeah, this is much more interesting.
We have way too much fun here.
Yeah, we sure do. But on to some art news.
Yeah.
So, what's up, Stick Nation?
With the sticks again.
Yes.
What is happening?
Exactly. So if you remember a few episodes back, I brought up an artist who finds sticks and made like a little art
Installation.
installation situation of the sticks that he finds and how they look like guns.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I'm scrolling on the tickety talk.
It's in your algorithm now.
It's in my algorithm. And there's this official Stick News that says, we are Stick Nation. So I was scrolling and I would hear, what's up, Stick Nation? And the first time it happened, I was like, whatever. Second time, what's up, Stick Nation? I'm like, here's something to, by the third one, I was like, yeah, what is this? What is Stick Nation? And it's actually really, 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 really cool. So people from all over the globe, they put the little flag of like where they're at, the country that they're in on the top right-hand corner. And then they just,
Australia. Here,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
this guy found a really cool stick and he just talks about where they found it. They talk about the attributes.
This is my stick.
Yeah, and this guy, he's like, it's good for like poking for like combat, but you could also use it for a shield. And he's like waving it, and I was like, dude, this is so cool.
This is the content we didn't know we needed.
Yes,
This is amazing.
This is why the internet was created. I was like,
It really is.
yeah.
Oh, from Kenya. Nice. That is an interesting stick. That's like some driftwood or something.
Yeah, she said she found it at the beach. And then you have some Americans, I think from Connecticut.
What is that?
And right, that was really cool because it's curved.
Yeah,
like
it's
almost like a crutch.
like
yeah.
Ooh.
Right? So I just wanted to introduce you guys and put you guys on to Stick Nation if you guys were not aware
We're
of it.
all officially going to be part of Stick Nation.
Yes.
Can't wait to find some sticks outside of Purple Easel now. All right, in other news, September 1st has come and gone, which means spooky season is officially open. For those who are really into, like I have friends who are already logging scary movies.
That's
decorating. Pumpkin spice lattes are out now.
The burrs of the
it's still 100 degrees out.
It
is not, in fact, weather.
No, it's true. Sweather weather.
But along with that comes the official prompt list for Inktober.
Backpack.
And Reddit has thoughts.
Oh, okay.
So this is the first time I've been part of Reddit when Inktober has come around. So I'm like still on the fence. Like, do I want to do Inktober? Last year I didn't make it through. I'm not super inspired by this prompt list, and we'll get into that in a second. But I'm also like, but Reddit, like I can interact with the Reddit side of Inktober for the first time. So that's appealing to me. But I love some of these comments, as we do.
All the words are related to travel. Not sure why. Past Inktober's never really had a set theme before, except lean a bit spooky or have some autumn vibes for October. All except the random violin thrown, which I thought, I was like, violin?
Yes. Yeah, just random violin. Apparently, we're missing a crucial part of our travels is keeping a violin with us. But another user pointed out, well, you never know when the devil's going to show up and duel for your soul.
Right? That is true.
So maybe we should be camping with violins.
I think we should be camping with an instrument.
But a lot of the complaints were that the words are very redundant and they're synonyms of themselves. And normally you get some things that kind of fit a theme, but not really, right? Like that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
You see some range. So there's
I know I did look at the list, just flash right now, and some of them I'm like, I feel like not that they have been used before, but something like that has been used before.
I've already
so
got Inktober drawings of things that would work for a lot of these prompts. And I'm just like, but I love this one, 31 Days of Dora the Explorer prompts, WTF. Somebody says, was this list AI generated? There was a few of those comments. It really is very themey compared to other years. And then this one, day 18 is going to be full of Ryan Gosling drawings. It's Drive. Drive is the word. Yeah. I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah, they're a little weird. They're
not that
it's
great.
all adventure-y, which is cool, but like if you're not into that, if you don't travel, like how many drawings of passports are we going to want to look at?
Yeah, like what can you
Yeah. So I haven't really sat with the list and like ruminated on it. I normally write them all down and then start brainstorming.
These are all the same. Like you're saying, this is all just travel.
It is
all the same.
Like if you draw a scene, you can end up having like a week's worth of prompts in it in one picture, which maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. It's really cool when people create stories, illustrators especially, and link all these things together. But it's less obvious than this particular. So I don't know.
I wonder what Christian has to say about this, because he participates every year in Inktober. And in fact, one of his, he was stoked. One of his drawings ended up being like the main hashtag picture of Instagram for Inktober. And he's like, so he's really big into it. So I'm kind of curious, like,
I've been there. You get shared or whatever, and you're like, and all of a sudden you get all these followers, and you feel like the coolest kid in the history of the universe. So we'll have to see. I got a month to decide. We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, in other art news, you guys might have heard of this, but a child shatters a 3,500-year-old vase at Israel Museum, or a museum in Israel. Now, here's the thing. He's a 4-year-old boy, and he wanted to know what was inside of one of the vases, as a 4-year-old boy would want, and was like, and accidentally shattered one of the vases.
Stomach drops. This is heart-wrenching.
Yeah, here's the thing about this. So apparently vases, two things. I guess, what am I trying to say? They were used to carry like olive oil and wine back in the days, but they're so precious to where it's like really hard to find vases, because their vases are gonna break, you know?
Yeah, ceramics are not the sturdiest thing.
Exactly. So it's very rare to have them be apart anyways, like whole. But they're going to glue it back together, restore it, and they actually want the family to come back for that, so that the 4-year-old boy gets invited back.
I mean, PR-wise,
move.
That's a pretty good move. Like, you know, we can't do anything about it now.
Yeah,
let's just embrace it. Like, they could do that that Japanese technique with the gold, where the seams are put back together. Yeah. That could be kind of cool. Although it historically maybe wouldn't be so accurate. But like, I remember in art history, the one art history course I took, we had to memorize all the like shapes of the different vases, like amphors and all this. Right. Like, they have different names. Like, yeah. But they would carry goods all over the world. I know somewhat recently, like in the last few years, there was a shipwreck found with like hundreds of intact vessels, and they were really stoked on it, and it had some like really old grungy wine in it that was probably pretty suspect. But yeah, I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, but then like, what are you gonna do? You know, the craziest thing is that they were glassed, but not all four corners were glassed.
Just that one open spot. Yeah. Create an opportunity. Somebody's gonna take it. Well, that's depressing. But speaking of kids, I got some good news for the emo kids.
Oh.
So the Museum of Youth Culture wants your MySpace selfies. Or basically whatever you got. and say, calling all 90s emo kids. The museum wrote in an Instagram post. We need your emo content for a new exhibition launching next month at the Barbican Music Library. If you have mobile phone selfies, digital camera backups, MySpace screenshots, collages, we want to see them.
Because the night might be the night that I will fall for you. That's like a popular little dealy. Dude, that's great. Granted, I didn't have an emo phase necessarily. I wanted one.
I just
wanted
can't wait to see all the pictures of the scene kids with their hair just the extreme side part bang situation.
Very cool.
Yeah, so now's the moment.
Seize
And
the
I feel
moment.
like the emo is really getting resurgent right now because they have that festival that they've started in the last few years of all the like pop punk emo bands.
Oh,
I was never really an emo kid, but I was emo adjacent.
Yeah, right.
All my pop punk, there's some overlap there. So, yeah.
That's really cool.
I kind of want to start digging through some of my old stuff. See what I can
I
find.
have deactivated my MySpace, obviously, but I'm like, if I reactivated it, I wonder what pictures I would find. If they're still there, I don't know.
I don't know. It's all music-y now. Last time I looked.
Right,
which
same.
It's been a while, but still. Yeah. So that's some exciting thing for all the dark kids out there.
Yay. The Dark Witness returns.
All right.
So what you got for us today?
We're going to roll right into it. I'm excited to introduce you to this artist who is also an illustrator, a writer, an animator, a producer, and a director. This man of many hats has created subcultures, an entire aesthetic, and a style so distinct that his work might be more recognizable than Walt Disney's. And I know that's a lot because they say anywhere on Earth, kids would recognize Mickey Mouse.
Okay, yeah.
I think this is pretty close.
What? Tell me more. Tell me more.
So our artist was born in 1959 in Burbank, California. Stayed in Burbank. Okay. In 8th grade, won a contest for an anti-litter poster.
Oh, that's nice.
Done by the city. And here's like a metal sign of the artwork. Sponsored by Burbank Beautiful Crush Litter. So super cool, very graphic. Got the little cat. Totally makes me think of like Heathcliff. Not Heathcliff, but like some of the stray alley cats that he would hang out with. You ever watch Heathcliff?
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. You told me that I'm supposed to guess. So I'm like, do I start now?
If you think you know it, write it down. If you want to wait a little bit, then you can wait a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So our artist attended the California Institute of the Arts. After graduation, became a storyboard animator and concept artist at Disney.
Okay.
As many people who graduated from there did.
Okay.
He worked on Fox and the Hound and eventually got kicked off of doing the Black Cauldron because the work was too creepy. They had creative differences. It wasn't the right fit. Now, I don't know if you've seen Black Cauldron.
No.
It's dark. It is scary.
Heard in my research about art just in general, that's the case.
It's a lot of the old Disney movies are pretty dark. Like you think of Sleeping Beauty. It can be pretty scary, you know. Black Cauldron's dark, but this artist too dark.
Okay.
Too much. But they saw something, so they were like, we're gonna give you some leeway here and have you do your own little project. So the short Vincent was created about Vincent Price.
Okay.
Also worked on Frankenweenie, which was a smash hit. And then was promptly fired from Disney. Because they're like, yeah, this is just not the aesthetic. This is a very distinct style.
Yes.
Do you know who it is yet?
Yeah.
Write it down?
Oh.
All right. So then we come along to 1985, and our artist lands a big movie. And the only reason is because Pee Wee Herman, our actor,
Yes.
saw Frankenweenie and was like, that guy.
Nice. Hashtag Virgo. He's Virgo.
Oh,
His Virgo
good to
student.
know. Good to know. So he directed Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
One of my favorite movies.
I need to rewatch it. I don't remember
I've seen it a million times. It's just running right now. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'm done.
But you can look at this still, and there's some things that you will start to notice that are very prominent in this director's work.
Okay.
It's a pretty muted color palette.
Okay.
And we got some like gray tones and little pops of red, and we got the green in the grass. And then in 1988, the ghostest with the mostest.
Also, one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, so this is one of my top 3 childhood movies. Like, I was obsessed.
Yeah, same.
Obsessed with Beetlejuice. And I just now found out Michael Keaton is only in the movie for like 17 minutes.
Hashtag Virgo. He's also a Virgo.
Wow, so many Virgos.
But yeah, that's crazy. Because you would think
The main character, the movie is named after him. But we have some stylistic black and white stripes. In fact, this iconic suit was only worn for like one scene. But it becomes like the poster of, right? Like, this is what we know him in, right? Like, this is his outfit. But no, just that one.
Huh.
And after Beetlejuice became a big hit, he tackled a superhero and he caused a riot, quite the ruckus, because he chose Michael Keaton again. And everybody was like,
yeah,
that's no superhero. That's not Batman. But our artist was like, no, man. Batman is just Bruce Wayne with some fancy stuff.
Yeah. Also one of my top probably 10 favorite movies of all time.
This was revolutionary for a lot of reasons. And
Catwoman.
Part of it is this is a huge shift from the campy
Yeah.
to a darker, grittier, stylized Batman.
Also, there is a clip in Batman where you can see Michael Keaton kind of switch to Beetlejuice for a quick second.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that's when he was with like the Joker, Vicky Vale, and he's like near a fireplace, and he's grabbing like something to kind of like whack because it was unexpected. He's at Vicky Vale's place, anyways. But anyways, he says he smashes a face, and he's like, "You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts." He says it just like, and that's Beetlejuice right there. Anyways,
It's so good.
that's what.
It's so good. That character is so iconic. Yeah. It's so good. But not only all that, this was the first movie to really put marketing everywhere. And they used this really simple Batman logo and plastered it on everything.
I believe that.
And they had like, because Danny Elfman was doing the soundtrack, they had his album release. Like, they were just doing all these extra little things that really had not been done before in order to like promote Batman. And then after that, we come across one of my favorites.
Such a classic.
It's such a classic. And I started with this picture because not everybody's going to know it right away. But I really wanted to point out the color scheme because these light, bright pastels are in such contrast to what else is happening in this movie.
Yeah, castle.
Here we have our beautiful castle with the topiaries. We've got our wonderful Winona Ryder, blonde.
Fun fact, Johnny Depp had like a tattoo that said Renona forever, but when they broke up, he put like erased it and put Wino forever.
That's amazing. Well, I have to say, like, people obviously like working with him because they do it over and over and over again. And he really is a visionary. And we see that in Edward Scissorhands. And looking back at it, it's a weird movie.
Oh, yeah. It's a weird concept.
Like, how did he get in a boardroom and convince people, like, we're going to make this film and you're going to give me money for it?
I recently saw, I can't think of the actor's name right now. I really can't. But he's in, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Anyways.
Okay,
Anyways, he was talking about one movie. It didn't sound like he regretted it, but he was like, oh, gosh darn, was being a part of Edward Scissorhands. He said he had read the script and he's like, Avon people, like this, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, Castle at the end, don't understand. And then he said he watched the film. He's like, I get it now. But he's like, this script sounds stupid. What are you talking about?
It's really weird. But it really started him off. He was able to create a style that transferred from film to film. I have a couple really cool graphics here of his color palette choices. And you don't necessarily really think about that when you're watching it.
No.
But if he had used warm tones, it would have felt like a much different movie.
Yeah.
So we've got Corpse
so
Bride. We got one here with Sleepy Hollow. And then, of course, our personal favorite. He wanted her dress to be red because there was an old saying, wear red to your wedding, you might as well be dead, or something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
So that's why she didn't have a white dress. I thought it was just to contrast with Gina Davis's white dress. You know, like they don't want 2 white wedding dresses. That would be redundant.
I thought it was more of just because it's another kind of dark, spooky, vampire-ish kind of like
It
color.
is also that. It is. It feeds into that whole vibe. And he creates a vibe like no other. Like, it's incredible.
Absolutely.
And so I've got a bunch of movie posters. Now, these aren't necessarily like his art, his direction. Like, he didn't design the movie posters.
Yeah.
But you still get a feeling like there's a thread running through all of these. And we've got Ed Wood, Big Fish, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now, say what you want about the remakes. I think Johnny Depp did fine. Like, he made it different. I love Gene Wilder. Yeah. And he is always going to be my Willy Wonka. But I really couldn't get over Johnny Depp's hair.
Oh, right.
It just bothered me so much. It was such a bad, distracting haircut or wig or whatever.
Actually, you know what? That's kind of true. I can see that being just very distracting.
I would have enjoyed the movie a lot more if he had like just normal dude hair or even like Sweeney Todd hair, you know, like
because
something else.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sweeney Todd, we got Corpse Bride. I mean, obviously is Johnny Depp over and over again. But we also get Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children and all that. And I did not know this until doing my research. He did not direct Nightmare Before Christmas. In my head, and it says Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, he directed that. Like but he didn't. He didn't have time. So they had like 100 artists working on all the stop motion, and they took his concepts, his characters that he'd been doodling and drawing for years. And he had the story idea, and obviously he worked with Elfman for the music, and it was born, but he didn't direct it. He didn't have time.
Interesting. I never knew that
Me
either.
either.
Did you guys know?
There are a lot of very heavy fans of Nightmare Before Christmas, so much so that Disney decided to capitalize on it and do their Haunted Mansion for holiday time as Nightmare Before Christmas every year between August all the way through, I think, January. So now it's like half the year. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. I was like, I don't think I've been on Haunted Mansion normal in years. I always seem to catch it when it's Nightmare Before Christmas, which is great. I kind of miss the old spooky.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
So here we got a nice picture of Jack, and I love this because it's so simple.
Okay. Also, it's I think you just said it simply. It's so simple. It's it says so much with very little.
Right? It really does. Just the sketchiness of it, the line work, the kind of unfinished, but doesn't need to be.
Yeah. Totally.
Like, I love this, like,
and it's
clever bat
right?
thing happening.
It's not spooky. It's like fun spooky. It's like whimsical, fairyland, dark.
Yes,
spooky. That makes
agreed.
sense.
Now, Disney would not produce this. They had to put it under Touchstone,
Okay.
which is still owned by Disney, but they didn't want the Disney brand on it, which is funny thinking back now and like looking at all of the merch that's available in Disneyland.
In Disney, yeah, because it's now Disney.
It is now, yes. So
Okay.
Touchstone was owned by Disney, so it was like a subsidy. There's a word I can't say.
I know exactly what you're talking
Okay. Disney wanted eyes. They were like, no, we're just going to leave it hollowed out.
Ew.
Like they wanted actual eye. I think that would make it way
That would be
creepier.
super creepy.
That would be really weird.
No.
So good on Tim Burton for sticking to his guns and having enough clout to be like, nah, it's got to be like this.
Yeah. Good.
And of course, he's gone on to have multiple exhibits. He had a retrospective at MoMA in New York with over 700
Whoa.
drawings, paintings, photographs, storyboards, movie image works, puppets, costumes, everything from his personal collection.
Nice.
And I just included some of these. These are off his website. Exhibits.
Okay.
Like they go full bore on all of these exhibits for
That's
Tim
cool.
Burton. And I just love it. Like it's an
Oh,
entire
nice.
aesthetic just in how
Yeah.
they're presenting the work. It's incredible. I wish I could have gone to one of these.
This is really cool. Oh,
Isn't it so
Disney's
cool?
like Christmas tree.
It's so cool. I love it. I love it so much. In fact, this one makes me think of that same class with the music.
Okay.
There was a couple who were getting married. She had her little like bride to be thing, and he had the groom to be. And we were just doing a landscape, and she decided to put a sandworm in there, and I was like,
Oh, nice.
It was great. It was great.
Nice. Love the sandworms.
Speaking. Oh, yes. Tim Burton. Tim Burton is our artist. If you have not guessed, Toya got it right. Congratulations.
Yay.
I was thinking about making Matt guess, but he had to do all the images, so he got a sneak peek.
Okay.
But yes, Tim Burton.
Yay. Woo-hoo.
Yay.
You know, because I am familiar with his whole background and the Disney, so I was like, I think this is Tim Burton. And I just kept on like, it's Tim Burton. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I tried to start with kind of art that could have gone either way.
Yeah, no, because the first one I was like,
His style is so distinct.
Yeah.
So distinct. But yeah, speaking of Purple Easel and videos and us here at Spotlight, we got a comment.
Yay! From John Mayer Hoffer 6935. Love, love, love your channel. Did you want to read the rest of it?
No, go
Okay.
ahead. Do your thing.
How can I get my artwork / mixed media / painting on your show? Or do I have to be famous? If not, thanks anyways. I love your show either way. Wow. Wow. Wow.
I had to post this on my Facebook. I was so excited about it.
nice.
I was like, I worked for retail. We've gotten surveys. We've gotten Yelp. I've gotten lots of feedback things over my career, but for some reason, this one just hit me on another level. Like, because we put a lot into this, and
Heck
we're
yeah.
not really expecting anything out of it. It's for the joy of doing it.
Yeah.
But for somebody to recognize, like, we
It's
got
like-
a thing going. Yeah.
It's like, dang, are we really making a difference out here in the world? Are we really making a difference? This is, you know what? I didn't think
So-
about. Well, I guess it's fine because we have like our own workplace thing. But was better than a Yelp review for
Yes.
for us because we
Oh,
get
yeah.
Yelp reviews like, oh, Megan was great, or Latoya was great.
It just hits on a different level.
Yeah, it does.
It's oh man, it made me so happy. But to answer the question, send us the work.
Yeah.
Send us the work. We love to spotlight artists that aren't well known. We have trouble finding them.
Yes.
So if you have something or you have an artist that you love, send it on through because
Yeah.
we love that.
So when we originally started doing the podcast, that's who we wanted to cover was up and coming or unknown artists. But because Instagram,
Algorithms,
yes,
man.
you can't find them anywhere. Just like you can't find us.
So hard. So hard.
So yes, we're using this platform to like try to uplift the folks that need to be uplifted. So
Yes.
like
And then just create an artist community because it helps to talk art with other artists and hear what other people got to say and get your news because Where else are you going to get it? Internet?
Right? Forget that.
All right. Now, after that, we're going to roll in
To some more spooky?
some more spooky. So this is a total Tim Burton episode. I did not pick an up-and-coming artist. I want our viewers to give us their suggestions of people they feel are the next Tim Burton. Because if there's somebody, I don't know who it is. And he's got a lot going on. So we've talked about Tim Burton, the director.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about Tim Burton, the artist.
Ooh.
So I actually had quite a bit of trouble with this portion because I had to discern the images based on the sources. So I couldn't just like Google images and be like, this one, this one, this one. I had to go to the site to see like, is this somebody's deviant art?
Yeah.
Or is this actually his? So I ended up finding a lot of articles about his exhibits.
Okay.
They had a lot to say. I don't normally look at that kind of stuff. Like I've never read a review of an art exhibit before.
Oh, there is such a thing.
They weren't very nice.
Oh, okay.
So I included this quote. To be a popular Hollywood movie maker and be an interesting fine artist in today's terms are very different propositions. And it's no knock on Mr. Burton that he's not great at both. Nobody is that good. And that was the sentiment. Like people were like, felt it was a sellout for the museums to show his work. And I think some of the most like constructive feedback I saw was that they had too much stuff. Like the 700 pictures of drawings, every scrap he's ever done, they didn't need all that. They could just have told a story and eliminated a lot of that. And then a lot of people complained about the sameness of it. Because his style is so distinct, you're getting the same thing kind of over and over again in different varieties. So I don't know. Like I would have loved to have gone to one of these exhibits.
You know, I don't think that's, while I understand that, I don't think that's not normal. Because when me and Ian were looking at that one artist from the last episode about the statue guy.
Yeah.
And we were looking at his work, it was the same stuff all again and again and again.
Yeah.
And it looked incomplete. And
Again and again.
Yeah, again and again. So, and he's got a space. So like,
yeah, I guess at the time, like people were like, too commercial. He's too commercial. I don't know. Like they can't appreciate him as a fine artist. But I included one of these sketches of Edward Scissorhands before there was a movie. And I just love it. And it is such a style. That's sketchy, dark, steampunkish. Almost.
Yeah.
Like
I can see that.
And so like the internet is a rabbit hole of Burton-esque work. Everybody copies his style because it's so iconic. We got some more Beetlejuice art
With upset stomach.
It's cracked me up. I love it. I love it so much.
I guess if you're like a snotty artist, I can, or like
the critics, right?
Critics,
Like, the critics are always going to be that way. But that's why I don't read critic film reviews. I read like the IMDb normal Joe, because I want to know, and it's normally something I'm already like, but I want to see if other people like it for the same reasons I do, or if I'm missing something, or if there's another layer to it. And that's why I discovered things. Oh yeah, you know, yeah, it would have been a time, I guess.
okay.
Go on.
I'm not. There's been people who worked here in the past who were like gallery artists, and stuff like that. So that is not my realm of expertise.
I have no experience with that.
So, and there's all these rules and regulations and these styles and types, and then there's like lowbrow, which actually isn't lowbrow to the average.
It's so avant-garde that it's like up here, even though it's down here.
Yeah. So.
It's so hard, right?
Yeah.
It's just so hard.
So I don't know I don't know how that works, because I did go at one point to Gosh, I forgot his name. I love his art too. And Android Jones. And I went to like one of his little art things, and they have like a bunch of cool art installations that you can touch and blah, blah, blah. But then there's like this random sketch that he did that's for like $10,000. And it just looks like an average regular sketch. And so I'm kind of now thinking like, kind of what these guys are thinking.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those guys. So I don't know if you're, is the point of having gallery work, does all of it have to be mind-blowing or not? You know what I mean? Or are you just famous and you just put your little sketch out there because you're famous? So it's kind of like what you're talking about.
And it could be. For him to put that much stuff, I would think they were just like, give us everything. But they really needed a curator to kind of like edit it down and make it a show that made sense.
That's like your best work.
Yes. And throughout this time, you know, he's becoming culturally relevant. People know him. They have expectations of him. And I just liked this quote because it kind of takes you out of it a little bit. It says, you know, I could put on a clown costume and laugh with the happy people, but they'd still think that I'm a dark personality. And he said Edward Scissorhands was really kind of his most biographical. He felt like an outsider, you know, kind of always left of centers, not quite in the norm, had that dark sense of humor.
Like regular society, kind of like doing their thing. And, you know, okay, also in Edward Scissorhands, there's that one neighbor who's kind of like a little like,
the
attractive
flirty one,
the flirty one. And then I think it's because it's the unknown. She's kind of wants to like get into his world. So I can kind of see people being like that with him, being like, I just want to know a little taste. I don't actually like you you. I just want to experience the little bit of darkness that you have.
Right. And there's that darkness that kind of appeals to people, right? Because we all have some sort of darkness in us. But it's just interesting that he spins it in such a whimsical way.
Yeah, it's not that dark.
It's really not.
But
compared to most other things out there. And I think it's getting a segment of people who feel that way. Like they're just not quite the in crowd, you know, and it kind of represents them in a sense. And so they relate to it. And then you get your goth kids and your emo kids and your scene kids and, you know, like everybody who kind of like really gloms onto it, maybe makes it their whole personality. I don't know.
Yeah.
But here we have a couple other little sketches and stuff. But yeah, I mean, for me, I loved Beetlejuice. Loved Beetlejuice, was obsessed. And then I never really had angst as a teenager. It was pretty minimal.
Yeah,
like
same.
pretty regular schmegular. But it really did appeal to me that it was the like alternative, the offbeat.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go to prom. I went to
neither did I.
anti-prom, you know? So like that was
just
kind of my
misfits, you and I.
Exactly, right. And I feel like a lot of artists and a lot of people probably feel that way. And that's part of why he's as popular as he is.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, he appeals to people like us. The losers. The loser, baby.
But I found it absolutely fascinating that from the time I started the research to when I was buttoning this up, he went and got himself a Hollywood star.
As he deserves.
So there's your extra news bit. I'm surprised he was not on there already.
I thought he was.
I really would have thought.
Because it's Tim Burton. Everybody knows who Tim Burton is.
Everybody knows who Tim Burton is. Well, not everybody loves him, but like the people who love him really love him. And so that brings me into our discussion question.
Okay.
There are people who will go to any Tim Burton movie released just because it's a Tim Burton movie. And people feel that way about certain actors and stuff too. So I'm curious, is there something you feel that way about? That like just because of what it is, you're gonna throw money at it.
Beetlejuice. Watching the new Beetlejuice.
So funny you should mention that.
Oh, okay.
Because that was gonna be my follow-up question.
Okay.
But I want to state, we are in no way associated with Tim Burton or Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
But Beetlejuice is coming to theaters this weekend. And I am so excited. I'm like scared though.
I think it'll be okay. I feel like
so.
they did
I'm
good.
optimistic.
I would have heard like, what is it? Who like Borderlands was terrible. Like I feel like I would have heard. Granted, I mean, okay, so I love the Borderlands games.
Yeah, I heard the movie was terrible too.
Right, so I'm not going to watch it because it was so bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like I haven't heard anything bad.
I know. I mean, I like the cast of characters.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have our original dead duo, which okay. I mean, it's time for the next generation.
Yeah.
It's okay. But I think there's enough hands.
They've moved on.
I think it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it this weekend. Although I don't think I can go until Sunday. I made Talia watch the original Beetlejuice. She was so into it.
Okay,
8 years old was the original or the right age for her. She's starting to get into it.
Well, to answer the original discussion question, oh Lord.
Anything other than Beetlejuice.
Okay, I don't know. So sometimes I think there's something wrong with me because there's like musicians, for instance. There's no musician I would go see. I love musicians. I love them, but not enough. I don't like to be around a lot of people.
Okay.
So no one's enticing
No concerts for you.
Correct. I've been to small little groups of gatherings of like maybe 200 people or something like that, to some offbeat brand no one knows about. So I don't ride hard for any. That's why I don't have tattoos.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm not so strongly opinionated about like one particular thing or group or people or anything. So I don't think so. Again, I'm gonna see Beetlejuice because.
Right. And even my like biggest fandoms, like I think of Lord of the Rings. I went and saw them all in theaters when they were in again. But like I still haven't watched Rings of Power.
I've watched 3 or 4 episodes.
That's on my list. I'm gonna have to watch it at some point. But Star Wars is the other one that like I typically try to go to the theater for new Star Wars movies, but I haven't made it for all of them. And I remember specifically getting very upset, and this is probably what ruined it for me, was I went on a date, and it was a first date to a movie, which was a terrible idea. But the dude kept trying to make out with me the whole time. I'm like, it's Star Wars. I need to see what's happening. We can do that later if you make it that far. Like, I think he probably already saw it and didn't tell me he'd seen it, because how are you going to say I'm like such a huge Star Wars fan and go out opening weekend and then
try to make out?
Yeah.
Don't do that to us. You know what? You're actually right. I think it might be There's only one movie, which I heard, Rogue One. I heard it's great. I know I haven't seen it. That's the only one I haven't seen. I've seen everything else. And I think there might be like the...
some of the Disney Plus stuff I'm behind
I've seen Obi-Wan and few others, but I think there's one I'm also missing. Bad Batch, or I don't know if that's
I haven't watched any of that either.
Or Rogue One, but so maybe Star Wars,
Star Wars, just because it's Star Wars. I mean, there's book stuff, I guess. Like if they made a sequel to certain books, I'd probably go get it right away. But yeah, Beetlejuice.
So great. What did you guys?
Well, now that we've cursed ourselves, you said it 3 times. Jeez Louise. We want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to check out more art from Tim Burton. If you're going to see the movie, tell us about it. Well, don't spoil it.
Yes.
No spoilers, please. But like, let us know what you think of his art. What do you think of his movies? Like, are you a hardcore Timmy fan?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Give us some more comments.
All the comments, please. Comments. Exactly. We love comments.
And make sure to visit Purple Easel Plus to paint with the world's largest paint sip studio online.
And if you're in Southern California, swing by the studio and come paint with us. We can argue over what music's going to play. It'll be great.
Yeah.
In the meantime, create more and create often.
Bye.